Hello, I'm the Miami Autism Dad Victor Antunez, the Inclusive My Realtor, and this is the Autism Podcast at Miami's Community Newspapers. Today I'm with Marta Noa, special education teacher, also with Lisndra Bereijo. She is a parent and an educator, both at public school system?
Yes.
Okay, and both of you have got children with Down syndrome.
Yes.
Your daughter Sophia, a little bit older than not old, because she's still 23 years old, but she was born in 2002.
Correct.
And then your boy, Jose, 2007, so he's 19 now.
Yes.
And your daughter, Sophia, I've met her a few times at No Limits Coffee Shop, and that's actually where we met.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm glad you guys are here. Lisndra, you brought a lot of props to talk about your work at the Catholic Church.
Yes.
Making sure that our special needs kids are getting their communion, their Eucharist, all of
the sacraments.
The sacraments, everything that regular kids are entitled to, we're now finding out that the special needs kids are entitled to. Tell me about that, Lisndra.
Okay, so I've been a catechism teacher, religious education teacher with the Catholic Church. It's been now about 9 years at 2 different churches. I started before my oldest child, Jose, was born, and I did that for about 4 years. And it was a surprise when our son was born with Down syndrome. I wasn't expecting that. So obviously I couldn't continue with the teaching of the catechism. Then I had 2 other children after that. Jose was also diagnosed with autism around 5 years old. And so life was very hectic. I couldn't volunteer anymore at the church. But then when my middle son was of age to start receiving preparation for the sacraments, I started to consider going back because I saw a need at the church. He had like a few different teachers in 1 year. I didn't see consistency, and I had a little bit more flexibility. So anyways, I prepared my son. He received his communion, and I remember the day of his communion, my husband is like, "Oh, when is Jose going to get his communion?" I was like, he can't get the communion. He doesn't speak. He has to go to catechism class. Who's going to teach him catechism? Like, we don't see that here in the church. And he asked the catechism director, and she's like, "Oh yeah, we could do it today if you want." But I didn't want to take away from my son's day. So I was like, no, he's not ready. And so then fast forward, my daughter, the younger one, goes through the motions again, catechism. And my husband's still like, "When is Jose going to get his communion?" I was like, "I don't think you know what that entails. I'm the catechism teacher. Like, how's he going to go to confession?" Anyways, I listened to a podcast, Catechism of the Catholic Church, and there something was revealed to me about how the church doesn't want to deny anyone their sacraments, even people with disabilities. Like, that's their right of baptism, to be full members of the church. And the only way we can become full members of the church is by receiving all of these sacraments, these special graces that are offered to us. And so I met with the pastor of the church. He confirmed what my husband had been saying. And so it was very humbling for me. And I realized, wow, like if my husband hadn't pursued me to get this for my son, and I hadn't looked into it, I wouldn't know that this was available, because those classes weren't visible to me. I didn't see kids like my son with Down syndrome or with autism in mass receiving communion. And so when I prepared my son at home, it was very challenging, and it was a beautiful experience when he finally was able to participate fully with us in mass as a whole family, all of us. It was very emotional, and every week just became a more beautiful experience. And then I started to think, this was a gift I was given. I was able to provide to my son. I want to do this for other families. I'm a teacher. I was able to do it with my son, and I thought it was impossible. I want to do this for other families who don't know that this is possible as well. And so last year, by the grace of God, we were able to offer this class at my parish, and I had a couple of students, both on the autism spectrum, but very different levels. And I was able to incorporate this adaptive program. We have a curriculum for them, just like the regular students, and it's at their level. So they're learning all the same concepts as the students. They're just in a smaller setting with more one-on-one support. And it's very adaptive, very hands-on. And so they're able to receive their sacramental preparation just like all the other students.
So Jose, your boy with Down syndrome, at what age or what year did you start teaching him for this process?
So this happened exactly 3 years ago in August. So this August will be 3 years ago that I approached the pastor.
When he was 16.
So yes, he was 16 years old. And usually kids, they can do it around, public school students do it around third grade. So like 9, 10 years old. Private school, Catholic school students do it in second grade. And so that entails 2 years of preparation. They go to the classes every week for 2 school years. And so that's another reason to bring this up now. We're getting ready for back to school. And this is the time of the year where parents are enrolling their students in these classes at their church.
Let me ask you about Jose, because second grade, I think you're 8 or 9.
Oh, yeah. Second grade, they're 8 or 9.
Do you think Jose could have done it at that age, or was he not mature enough?
I didn't think he was mature enough.
Do you think, but looking back now, do you think maybe that was more you holding your child back, or do you think he maybe could have done it? And there's no right or wrong answer, just because every kid's going to be very different.
I think I could have done it back then. When I realized that the minimum requirement for their understanding is just to know that when they receive the Eucharist, they're receiving Jesus Christ, and that I could adapt the lesson to his level to understand that, he could have understood it back then. I just didn't have the tools, and I didn't realize the simplicity of it.
Well, speaking of tools, you've brought a lot of tools here today.
Yes.
Some are for the kids, and then some are like for the caregivers or the parents. These didn't exist. 3 years ago, did they exist?
3 years ago, they did exist. When my pastor sent me home, I started looking up resources. There are parents like me that have put little videos out. A lot of these companies have started to...
What companies?
Companies like Loyola Press, the Catholic publishing companies. They've come up with materials to support our children. Also, a lot of parents have created like toy companies where they sell toys related to our faith that they can start using with their children from very little age to kind of teach them the faith at home so they can play with it at church, things like that. And so a lot of those toys are available also for our special needs children, that they help them interact better and understand the message better instead of like just learning it from a book. It's more visual, more hands-on.
Yeah, and this one was available. I found it on Amazon. Yes. Very cool. So you can get anywhere you want.
You can get this one from the press directly, Loyola Press, or you can find it on Amazon. And so when our students register at the church, this is a whole curriculum, and it comes with these kits based on the sacrament. There's one for confession, there's one for Eucharist, there's one for confirmation, and then there's a whole teacher kit that goes with it. And there's other components of the program. It's a year-long program. We go through the calendar of the church. We celebrate the different seasons of the church, Lent, Christmas, Advent. All of those are also part of the program, just like in the regular classroom. So they're learning all of the same information, just at a different level. And our instruction looks different. Like there's a lot of pointing if the children are non-speaking. They're creating things with clay. They're coloring. They're singing more in the other classroom. It's more like reading from the book. There might have some activities, but it's more in depth with the theology behind their sacraments.
And these are meant for a classroom or at home, or both?
It can be for both. I've used them in my classroom, but it was created by a parent also with a special needs child who wanted to prepare his child and didn't have anything available at the time. And so little by little, something like this was created by him, and then it's just taken off. Really, if you look for it, the resources are there. And so, yeah.
Marta, we're like monopolizing the conversation here.
No, please.
So you go to a Presbyterian church?
Yes.
Okay.
Go to Old Cutler Presbyterian church.
Nice. Okay. So I don't know about you, but ever since my daughter like evaluated and diagnosed with autism, maybe because of her, I see it more, or maybe it was always there. I don't know, but I'm seeing more kids with disabilities be included in everything, including church.
Absolutely.
So you're seeing it more often. Are you seeing it also at your church?
I am. It's wonderful. My church, specifically for Sophie, she did her communion and confirmation at St. Kevin's. And to piggyback what she was saying, it was a wonderful opportunity provided by one of her teachers from Great Heights Academy, who was the religious education teacher at St. Kevin's. So she wanted to ask the parents who wanted to take part in religious education. I was raised Catholic. I don't attend Catholic church at the moment, but my faith is very solid. And when she offered to do this for my daughter Sophie and other kids in her program, I took advantage of it right away. She did very well.
In what way?
Well, she participated.
Okay.
She was very aware. And she really enjoys going to church. We go to church every Sunday. We participate in our church activities. But when I was given the opportunity to have Sophie attend and get her sacraments, I wanted to do that. I felt like, wow, this is a great opportunity. No one has ever offered that. Not that it wasn't available. It's just that I didn't realize, like, I think we just think as parent, we think, oh, this is not possible for my child, but it really is. And when you find people in the community who are willing to provide this wonderful opportunity, I took it. And as you can see from the photo, Sophie was able to get her sacraments of communion and confirmation. The fact that she has special needs and she does have a difficulty with, understanding. She's quite functional, but she does have some, obviously, needs that may have the teacher had to adapt for her. And so she was able to accomplish that. And she knew, she was very proud and she was very happy receiving her sacraments and participating in all the courses that she had to do. And so I'm very grateful to Ms. Rebecca Garcia, who's currently at Belen.
Super nice. And Sophia she is verbal.
Yes, she has her difficulties, but she is verbal. She's also volunteers at the No Limits Coffee Shop, as you mentioned earlier.
Yes.
She does wonderful sports. She does Special Olympics. She cheerleads. So I think religious education to me was paramount. I needed to provide that for my daughter. It's very important for me as a parent to make sure that my children understand who the Lord is and service unto Him, and also be part of the community at large.
My daughter is nonverbal, so for me and like probably for you also, it's really hard to know like what they understand. And I'll give you an example of my daughter. Like she watches her iPad a lot, YouTube, the songs that come on there, right? And it's like Baby Shark and whatever. And one day she started singing La Virgencita Maria. Perfectly singing La Virgencita Maria. And La Virgencita Maria does not come out on YouTube Kids. I don't know where she got that from, but she just started singing that. And it was like perfect pitch, up and down, like I'm not sure what the official word is, but it was beautiful. It's like, but it's harder with kids who are nonverbal because, we don't know what they're thinking. Whereas with Sophia, like what she's thinking at some level, at least, because she's talking to you.
Yes. I mean, when we go to church, we're sitting in service, she'll do something like this. She'll make a heart towards the pastor. So she really loves our pastor and Dr. Mike Campbell. And I think that she's very aware of the connection that she has being part of that service. I mean, she's aware of it. She wants to go. She looks forward to it. She knows Sunday is church time,
Super nice.
I'm very, very happy about that.
One of the nephews asked my wife, do you understand Chloe? Because Chloe, she'll communicate like, My wife's like, I understand her perfectly. I know I know exactly what it means. I'm sure that you and Jose probably have that same kind of communication, right?
I could kind of tell his mood from his eye contact, the way he looks at me. His sounds sound different for different reasons. He will use his gestures to kind of tell us what he needs at that moment. So we found our way around it. I mean, there are times where I'm kind of like at a loss. I have no idea what's going on, but we try our best and eventually we figure it out. And sometimes we don't. And the next day is a new day and we start over. And so
I'm curious because, this is a kind of a faith-based episode. When it comes to Jose, have you had those conversations with him about God and Christ and salvation?
Yes. And so I was already praying with him every night. He has like his little Jesus doll. And so I would show him the Jesus doll and we would pray and he looks at me, he's very calm and he's not grunting and he's not trying to escape. So I could tell that he's receiving something. And church, I kind of see that, like when I'm saying the prayers with him and he's looking at the cards, his attention is there. I don't think he can obviously articulate how much he knows, but I think he understands already because he's heard it so many times, the repetition. Like I know when I take him to summer camp, because in the school year, my husband takes him to school, I'll put a prayer in the car, and he's very calm. And I tell him all the time, we're going to pray that you have a good day. And he's not praying, but he's looking out the window. He's not mad. He's not like making weird noises. So I think he's receiving that. And, I tell him, like, when he hits himself, because he will hit himself when he's upset, I'll tell him, remember that you're a temple of the Holy Spirit. Jesus is in you. And that makes Jesus sad when you hit yourself because you're hurting yourself. And so he'll kind of like look at me and like kind of like slow down sometimes. So I think, yeah, he understands a lot. And so I'm not scared to tell him. And if he gets it, he gets it. And if he doesn't get it, I just go directly to what I do share. I don't talk to him at the level I talk to my older kids. I could talk to them more about other things, but
sure.
And to add to that, my daughter, Sophia, sometimes you think they don't understand, but they understand more than what we think sometimes. I mean, I know that when my mother passed away, Sophia had a lot of difficulty with the loss of her abuela.
How old was she, Sophia, when the loss happened?
It was 2 years ago. So she was
21?
21.
Oh, yeah, a big girl already.
Yes. And my mother and her were like,
I can imagine.
2 peas in a pod, right? But one of the things that our faith has helped is that she'll say to me when we pass by my mom's church, which is Our Lady of Lourdes, that was my mom's parish, she'll say, Abuela's with God. I'm like, yes, she is, So there is something that she is getting, obviously, and she does understand that her faith comforts her. And that's very important for me.
I think that, I know, because it's been my experience also, a lot of the limitations we put on our kids, that's our baggage. It's not them.
Correct.
And I've always been told, and sometimes you forget it, but I've always been told, assume competence. That what you're saying is penetrating at some level. With nonverbal kids, it's harder because you don't get anything, you don't get feedback. But I just assume that whatever, in fact, it's happening with your boy Jose. Don't repeat stuff that you and your husband were talking about. So something's getting in.
Right.
At what level, who knows? But I just always, with the kids, just assume competence. And I think that a lot of it's just us, it's our baggage.
Funny that you say that about the baggage part, because going to mass with Jose throughout the years, as he's gotten older, has become harder because he's gotten stronger. His voice has gotten deeper. So for a while, I struggled with like his behavior in church. And I was worried about other people. No one has ever told me anything about his behavior, but that was like me, like worried about him being disruptive. And I shouldn't have been embarrassed about his behavior. I should just remember that I'm there for a purpose and that he's that way because God made him that way and he's loved by God and loved by the community. And so I needed to get past that part, like forget about what people are thinking. Nobody's worried about his behavior. Everybody understands, and just be in the moment, pay attention to what's happening, pray about it. And that's something that I've heard other parents say, that I can't bring my child to church. They misbehave. Oh no, my child can never sit an hour in church. And so it's very hard. You have to train them and they have to get comfortable in the church setting. And it requires some training. They have to you have to be consistent with that and start little by little. Like maybe you can't make it the whole hour, but maybe the first 10 minutes or first 20 minutes, and you slowly build up the length of time they can be there. Church mass service could be a little overstimulating for our children with autism. There's different songs, there's different smells.
Standing up, sitting down.
Sit. One priest might have a different way of talking, more animated, louder, where another one is more passive and quiet. And so they have to adjust to all of that sensory wise. And so, maybe they can go to church with headphones for a little while. Or you could take, like my son for a while wouldn't sit in the pews. He would go in his wheelchair and sit there because he wouldn't escape. And so little by little, I trained him. Now he doesn't go to church in the wheelchair anymore. Now he walks up. And so I've had to do a lot of behavior training with him going to mass because it's been hard, but I think it's important to put the time in. I see the fruits of that. And I've been inspired by other parents that I've witnessed at my own church with children that are also on the spectrum. And we need to see each other, and other people need to see us and our suffering. Then that's part of what the church teaches, that God is with us and our suffering has a purpose. It has value. And so when Jojo's having a bad day, I could leave and say, that's it, I can't do it anymore. Or I choose to pray about it. And I'm like, Lord, I offer this up for my family, for other families. And I always put in perspective, like, yes, I have my struggles, but how many parents don't have bigger struggles, with typical and other children, So I use it, my suffering in mass when Jojo's having a bad day is a prayer. And so, yeah.
Well, as a mom who's put her time in, put the reps in, if a parent is, let's talk logistics now.
Yes.
A parent is just getting their special needs kid, like your kid, to go to church. Get there early, get there late, sit in the front, sit in the back. Like logistically, like what would you tell this parent?
I would say, be consistent. I would say get there at least 10 minutes early. I like to sit in the back and near the room that is like the crying room. In case he's having a bad day, I could make a quick exit, right, to that room. I could still hear the service. I could still participate, but it's less distracting. So I would say get there early, scope out the church, where would be the best place for your child. My husband and I do a good job of like sandwiching him in there. Like one could be on one end, one on the other. My son also, he's been going to church, and the minute he gets there, he takes off his shoes and socks, and he's playing with his feet the whole service. At first, I was like mortified. Oh my gosh. But then my husband's like, leave him alone. He's quiet. I was like, okay. So, you just got to pick your battles. If he's tapping his feet and he's quiet, I'm not even going to look at him. And so I take a little bag with me to church. And in my bag, I have sensory toys. And when he starts to act up, I present different toys. I take out the books, all very quiet, non-distracting, but I'm trying to like divert his attention. I'm trying to get him focused on what's happening so he could understand. And it's usually the same toys and the same pattern, because for my son, that consistency works. And he responds to it. He doesn't like for me to introduce too many new things. So I have found what works for him, a lot of trial error through the time. And so I'll take it out. If he's not responding, I'll try something else in. But I don't go to church without the bag. The bag is my saving grace. And sometimes it works wonderful. Sometimes I don't even have to open it. Some days he doesn't care about anything that's in there. But I say that give yourself grace, like try it out. Don't quit. And just be careful too. Like at first if you take them out too early, that might be a sign for them. Or if I misbehave, I'm going to leave. So just take them out for a little while, walk around the church, bring them back in. Like don't let them think that if I misbehave, I'm leaving. And because that's maybe what they want initially, because it's new, it might be overwhelming for them. But just be very patient, be very loving, motivate them. Like I give my son massages on his head and tell him I like how you're behaving. Jesus is so proud of you, things like that. And so just be very encouraging, be very patient with yourself, and don't worry about what people think, and just be present in the Lord.
And most times people will ask you questions. They will come up to you and ask you, like they'll notice, because they're also struggling with trying to make the right decision for their own child. And they might come up to Lisndra and ask a question, right?
Yes.
And be like, well, how did you do that? And I think that's a great opportunity for us to witness what we can do when we just train up a child, right? The way they should go. It is a process.
Yes.
A process that we can all learn. As a special ed teacher, you get a child at the beginning of the school year with, opinions from other people, parents, but you have to set precedents. How is this child going to be? How am I going to deal with this child here in the classroom setting? Same thing goes in church. You have to take your time. You have to train them. Like she said, don't leave too early. Make sure they understand, like, okay, this is a moment. We're going to take a little break, which I do with typical kids too. We take a little break and we come back and we continue, So it's important. And parents that have children with special needs will approach you. I mean, I've been approached with my daughter out in the community, like, wow, how did you get her to use a knife and a fork, to cut her steak? And it took practice.
A lot of practice.
And she doesn't dirty the area. That took practice. Right?
Sophia's a very standout kid, though, because I'm sure there's some kids that maybe you can't train them, and just have to as a parent, like not look at other kids necessarily like, well, my kid can't do that. Because I think that Sophia, like as far as also behavior, she's probably also a very good kid.
I'm pretty blessed, thank God, that she has this great behavior. Yes, indeed. But there are certain things that we all have to teach our children and meet them where they are.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's what Lisndra is saying in the church setting, and whether a person goes to temple, they're going to have to teach them certain, trainings that take time, and people and parents and those who are working with them in the church setting or the temple can take their time and understand, okay, we're going to do this step by step, and it's possible.
Okay. Well, I just got the 2-minute warning. So before we get winding down, let's talk about your sensory kit that you have for Mass.
Oh, okay. So I have a regular bag, like a book bag size.
And it's not a kit you can buy. You just put it together.
No, these are things I've collected over the years from teaching catechism, but I've also bought things. And like I said, I've tried different things. And so in here, I'll have like his sensory toys. And like during the homily, when the priest is talking, I'll distract him by giving him little toys. I have like little saint toys, Saint Joseph. And so I just keep handing him little toys to keep him quiet. Then when we get to the prayers, like the creed, I show him these manipulative puzzles, and he's giving me the little pieces, like I believe in God, I believe in Jesus, I believe in the Holy Spirit. So it's the whole creed, but simplified in the 5 important components. Then I also have like other books with visuals, like the Miracle of the Mass, and it's talking about the whole Eucharist, and I'm just pointing at the pictures because I'm not going to talk while everybody's listening, but I'm pointing at the pictures, I'm whispering to him. I have other little books here also that go through the steps of the Mass. Then when it gets to the part of the consecration, I've made these pictures for him to kind of point and know what's going on. And so when it gets to the part of the liturgy of the Eucharist, I'll show him like the crucifix from our church. I'll point to Jesus and I'll show him like the body of Christ. Jesus is coming, get ready. And then I'll move the card up to the chalice to represent, not to represent, but to show him now the priest is going to pray to make it the body and blood of Christ. And he's just pointing at the cards, and I kind of do that. And so I just have a lot of little things in here, and I just vary it. But this one is another one with the steps of the Mass. So I'll show him like what part of the Mass we are. We have to stand now. We have to sing.
But you bought that. You didn't make that.
Yeah, some of these I've bought. The only thing I've really made are these pictures that I printed.
Okay, but this one over here about the steps of the Mass, where'd you get that?
This is also from Loyola Press. Okay. So Loyola Press has their own website, and besides these kids, they have other little books, a lot of manipulatives. I think I have another one in here. Oh, yes, here's another one with the Lord's Prayer, and so it has the Our Father.
Oh,
also,
super nice.
Very small. It's the same words, but very detailed with pictures for each part of the prayer. And so we flip it. He's pointing to it. So he's not verbalizing the prayer, but he's pointing, he's following along, he's praying in his way. He's praying in his way. And so this kind of takes me through the whole Mass. And so this is my go-to bag. I can't live without it. And he knows the minute he sees the bag, when it's time to get ready for church, he sees the bag and he's like, oh, I got to get ready. I got to shave. It's time to go to church. And so it's like a little sign for him. And so that's my Mass bag.
I think it's so awesome you had that Mass bag. I think it's so awesome that our kids are being included.
Yes.
And I'll just say, as an autism dad, all kids, like our kids, are going to heaven. Okay.
Amen.
I have no doubt.
Amen.
Okay. But even so, it's good that they go to church with us as well.
Yes.
And it's very cool that Loyola has this out, that all this came from the kit, right? And then, let me just show it while we're here. You gave me Sophia. Well, here's her graduation stuff.
Sophie's, this is her sacraments, the confirmation
Super
and the
nice.
Holy Eucharist.
And she must be very proud of that. I can imagine.
She was very happy. And there's a photograph of her.
Yes, here's
and
the
there's
photo.
Miss Rebecca Garcia
at St. Kevin's.
St. Kevin's.
Super nice. All the kids all dressed up there.
She's the tiniest one, so she's in the front.
Yeah, there she is. Super sweet. Well, this has been a really good podcast. I've learned a lot. And it's great to see that moms like you guys are doing this for our kiddos. Super important. that everybody feels included in, in every step of life.
And thank you for being a beacon in our community as well.
It's my pleasure beyond belief. This has just been such a blessing for me also.
Thank you for having us. It was a nice experience. Yeah. And for any special education teachers out there, if you're Catholic and willing to volunteer, your church needs you. We need catechists.
Yes.
And so reach out to your parish, see how you could volunteer.
Well, let me ask you a question. Okay. If it's a church that's smaller and maybe is not caught up with you guys, like Raquel Regalado, she came up with this neuro inclusion toolkit. Like, let's say you're a small municipality and you want to know how to start. She made a toolkit. So let's say you're a small parish, you're not doing any of this, but you want to. Where would they start?
Well, there's a National Catholic Partnership on Disability.
Okay.
They're the ones that kind of reach out to other dioceses throughout the country. They have conferences. They do different seminars throughout the year, and they have affiliates in each diocese, and they're training them. They're preparing them to reach out to the churches at their diocese to include everyone.
And also in Spanish.
English and Spanish, and not just to prepare for sacraments, but also throughout life to ensure that our elderly needs are being met, mental health needs are being met. So all types of needs are being met.
Super nice.
And reached out through. So I would suggest look into the National Catholic Partnership.
And I also mentioned the Down Syndrome Association of Miami. We have our 20th anniversary coming up Sunday, November 8th. I would love for everyone to come out to the community and celebrate every life born with Down syndrome. You can find us on dsaom.org, or we're on Instagram, Down Syndrome Association of Miami.
Yep.
We look forward to celebrating our kids.
Yes.
So cool. Great. Well, thank you for being here. The work you're doing is super important work, and I'm just blessed to have you guys on the show. Yes. Let's turn to the camera. We'll sign off. This has been the Autism Podcast at Miami's Community Newspapers with Marta and Lisndra, both accessional student education educators and Down syndrome moms. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you again next time.